Welcome into another edition of the Charleston County Connects podcast. We are joined by Andrew Pearson, who is an entomologist with Charleston County Mosquito Control. Did I say that right?
Yep, close enough.
Close enough. That's the way to go. So, mosquitoes control, that's the name of the game. And we're recording this here around the early part of June. First part of the, spring, summertime, very dry, but in the last 7 to 10 days, we've had a lot of rainfall throughout Charleston County. What does that mean for the mosquito population?
So what it really means is all mosquitoes require water. There are a lot of species in Charleston County that are what we would call floodwater mosquitoes. They're really driven by rainfall. They lay their eggs on, the sides of shallow depressions in the ground or in ditches and stuff like that, and then they wait for a rain to come. It comes, the eggs flood, and then they all hatch off, and then we have a massive mosquito problem all at once.
So the treatment options, there are a couple different ways you guys handle that. So it's by ground and by air. Can you kind of walk through folks who aren't familiar with it?
Yeah, so the pretty much the thing we like to do first, and that most programs prefer, is the kind of, we know where these mosquitoes are going to hatch off and what can we do to kind of preempt that situation. So we'll treat with things like methoprene, which is an insect growth regulator, and we'll put out briquettes that'll last for up to 150 days. And ideally what will happen is we put those in ditches and storm drains, and then once all the water ends up in there, the eggs will hatch, but the mosquitoes will never get off. Now, we can't do that everywhere, so we do have the trucks that go out and spray the, you'll hear us call it ULV. That stands for ultra low volume spray, which is generally treated about 0.2 of an ounce per acre, or a teaspoon spread over a football field. And that's most of what you're seeing with the trucks going by at night. Mm-hmm. And then we also have the aerial components of the helicopter and the airplane, which we use for much more. We need to cover a lot of ground in a quick time frame.
Mm-hmm. And the timing you mentioned, like the trucks, you said at night, but it's actually late at night or very early in the morning.
Yes, all the trucks are typically running. If we're running spray trucks, they're typically going to be between 10 p.m. and 6 a.m., mm-hmm. And that's to avoid what we call the 3 Ps, people, pets, and pollinators. We don't want to be causing any, undue inconvenience for anybody who wants to go out and walk and jog. Some people like to jog at 11 p.m., but that's on them.
Especially in the heat. Especially in the heat.
But the main thing is that we want to avoid pollinators that are typically active during the day. Mm-hmm. So that's why we tend to spray at night, is to have as little environmental impact as possible.
And outside of the efforts that Charleston County has to control the mosquito population, there's a very specific reason for that, and that's the fact that mosquitoes are a public health issue, which
Yes.
means they spread disease.
They do. The main diseases we're worried about in Charleston County are West Nile virus and Triple E, which is Eastern equine encephalitis, and then we also have it's relatively common that we have imported cases of dengue fever from folks who either go on vacation or they travel and they get bit by a mosquito, abroad, and then come back with dengue fever. And it's, there is the potential that somebody can be bit by a mosquito when they have dengue fever, and then it gets transmitted throughout the community. Now, that's not the case with diseases like West Nile virus and Triple E. However, those diseases are endemic to South Carolina, so we need to be more careful because they're present within the bird population at any given time.
Okay.
And we can, we can plan for that a little bit better than we can plan for, travel-related tropical diseases.
Okay. And it's not just, you did mention pets earlier. Pets can be susceptible to catching some of those mosquito-borne illnesses as well.
So horses are particularly susceptible to Eastern equine encephalitis. The fatality rate for horses when they do contract a mosquito-borne disease is pretty high unless they've been vaccinated, which we always recommend folks vaccinate their horses. For West Nile virus, it's the more common of the two viruses that you'd see in people, just because of the mosquitoes that tend to vector it are more, they're happier to live in and around human settlements, ditches, storm drains, catch basins,
Right.
all that sort of stuff. That's where they're happy to breed. And then people should get their pets medicated for, preventatively medicated for heartworm, their cats and dogs, because those are also transmitted by mosquitoes.
Really? Okay, that I did not know. The other thing is, when it comes to controlling the mosquito population, a lot of the efforts can be handled on your property.
They sure
right?
can.
So, and you guys, you spend a lot of time going out, you're doing inspections. What's the most common thing you see in people's backyards that you got to remember, you got to clean that up, otherwise you're helping the mosquito population breed?
Oh, I mean, I could go on for about 6 weeks as to all the containers that are there, but a lot of them
How about
are,
60 seconds?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So a lot of them are flower pots. They have that little lip that will collect water, because a mosquito can breed in something with water as little as what can be held in a bottle cap.
Yeah.
So it's really anything that holds water in your yard. A lot of people tend to forget, like, oh, hey, I need to clean out my gutters, because they'll breed in the gutters. If you have a boat, and you have a tarp over it, they'll breed in that. Anything like tires, any kind of container that will hold water is something that the mosquito is happy to breed in.
Okay. You have Mosquito Control Awareness Week right around the corner as well. The outreach efforts that you guys do, a lot of people don't know about, but I mean, you go to health fairs, you walk neighborhoods, you're available to speak to different meeting groups. What's the biggest thing you want to get out during Mosquito Control Awareness Week?
The biggest things I'd want to get out are, take a look around your property, go ahead and, if you see something that can hold water, like a bird bath, rinse it out once a week, or tip it, toss it, whatever will keep that water out. If there's something that is, more permanent, like a depression, we can always come out and take a look at it and, make a recommendation, whether you get like mosquito dunks or something like that. That's a little more, it's more of a treatment situation, but it's still something that's a long-term solution.
Right.
And then, we're not trying to tell people, hey, don't go outside at dawn or dusk, because when are there barbecues and ball games in summer in South Carolina?
Yeah.
So what we tell people is, hey, if you can, wear long sleeves to prevent mosquito bites, wear mosquito repellents that contain DEET or oil of lemon eucalyptus or picaridin as active ingredients. Those are the three that are kind of, well-studied and well recommended by the mosquito control, community, industry, and the CDC.
Yeah.
Which, as far as not getting bit, I'll take it.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. You mentioned this time of year, the barbecues and the ball fields. So youth sports around here, we got soccer going on right now, we got baseball. It's not the mosquitoes that people sometimes deal with when they're out there, but it's the no-see-ums.
Yes.
We don't treat for those.
We do not.
And there's a reason for that.
Yeah, so all the products we use, especially in our ULVs, they're specifically regulated for or labeled for use on mosquitoes as a public health risk. While it's potentially possible that like some part of the spray will work, it's just not labeled for that. We don't, what we're told and what we learn when, all of us at Mosquito Control in Charleston County are licensed pesticide applicators, and the thing that is kind of drilled into your mind when you're, studying for that test is the label is the law. If some product is not labeled for a specific use, you're not allowed to do that kind of treatment. And it's usually because that product isn't made to be used for that purpose.
Sure.
So mosquito control products are used to control for mosquitoes, and that's how we use them, and that's what we're funded to use them for.
Well, and the other thing about the no-see-ums is they're annoying,
Yes.
but they don't spread disease, correct?
No, they do not.
Okay, so Charleston County Mosquito Control, handling public health risks, no-see-ums, although annoying, are not something that we treat for.
No, and some of those repellents will help. Oil of lemon eucalyptus particularly seems to have some activity for no-see-ums and gnats and things. So, no repellent is 100% effective because it's not a force field. All it really does is confuse the mosquitoes into thinking there's nothing there. It's more of a camouflage than it is a barrier.
Oh, that's a good way to frame it. I remember when I moved here in the early 2000s, somebody told me to put fabric softener, like rub it on your skin for the no-see-ums. Is that a thing?
I've heard of it. I haven't tried it, so I can't vouch for it.
Okay.
I would steer toward products that have, they're registered with the EPA. They have a label. Any product that is registered with the EPA will have it'll have like a registration number.
Yeah.
That you can Google at your leisure and kind of just see, what's in the product, what's it supposed to be used for, what are the directions, if there are any risks to using it, those are on there.
Okay. So if citizens want to get a hold of you guys, they've noticed a hatch off and a lot more mosquitoes in their neighborhood. What's the best way to do it?
So the best way when somebody has a mosquito problem is to go on our website and use our brand new survey to input their service request. All it asks for is your contact information and your address and whatever mosquito problem you're having, or the kind of request you're trying to make, whether you want somebody to come out and do a water check and see if there's any standing water on your property, what we can do to help you with that, or if you want to be sprayed by the truck. Those are the two options you have on that survey form. It's all contained in one form on our website, and then if you're having problems with that form, you can always give us a call at 843-202-7880.
And we'll put all that information in the podcast description. Anything else you want our citizens to know as we work through June and the summer months and Mosquito Control Awareness Week?
I don't think so. Just the main things we're always telling folks is if you see it, tip it, toss it, and then stay safe. Always wear repellent if you're going to be outside, because the mosquito-borne diseases we have in Charleston County, they're not super common, but they can be very they can cause a lot of problems for folks who do actually show symptoms. And we're especially concerned about children, the elderly, folks who have some kind of compromised immune system. So just an emphasis on staying safe during mosquito season.
Okay. Fight the bite, right?
Fight the bite.
Fight the bite. All right, Mr. Pearson, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah.